Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Youngstown's Talk Channel, Joe and Kelin. We can talk about whatever's on our brains every day. I love that we're able to spill our guts in front of the public.
Yeah.
And met a bunch of people that listened to our show over the weekend.
You
and
did?
Shared some insights on how we suck or how we're great. And the suck was very limited. I think our suckiness is I just don't like some of the things that come out of our noise hole sometimes.
Yeah.
But overall, like, we're challenging the status quo. That is for sure.
I feel like anybody that listens to us, that watches the full show, likes us.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that caught this much out of context might not like us.
But that's still good. Out of context stuff still gets people going and willing to talk. So what's on your brain this morning?
I saw a video this morning and I am jazzed about it.
Oh no.
I'm jazzed.
Okay. You'll
go ahead and stifle it, and you'll make it awful, and
I'm trying to
rain on my parade.
Rain right now.
Yes, rain on my parade.
Yes.
Did you see the 60 Minutes interview with Governor, is it Cox of Utah?
No, I did not.
So I saw somebody shared it on Facebook. I don't really know when this aired, but it was basically him talking about how bad things have gotten. You know, he talked a little bit about Charlie Kirk's assassination and all these different things. He talks about how social media is a cancer, which was also super interesting about algorithms. And he's like, once your algorithm realizes what side you're leaning to, left or right, you're done. You're done for. He says it comes at you like a pack of wolves, and it will affect everything you think. Mm-hmm. And that's so true. And to sort of offset this, which I guess is not something new, I guess he started doing this years ago. It's just so sad that this has come to light because of tragic events. He refuses to do any negative campaigning. It's all positive. When he has a running mate, he includes his running mate in his campaigns. And he's like, I'm so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. I'd like your vote, but either way, we're working together. And they're like, yeah. And there's been some critics like, what are you having a kumbaya moment here? You just want everybody to be all hunky-dory and hug it out. And he says, no, by all means, no, that's not what I'm saying here. There are clear differences between me and my opponents. But I'm just not doing the hateful stuff. I'm just not. It's going to be, we're going to find a way to work together. We're going to find common ground no matter what we have to do about it. I'm not bashing anyone in my political ads anymore. I'm over this. I think this should be a new thing, and I am here for it, Joe. I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I want that guy to run for president. And they asked him, they said, would you consider running for president? And he says, oh, the thought of that makes me nauseated. He said, I would never. Mm-hmm. And he's like, unfortunately, a guy that thinks that way would never make it. Mm-hmm. We're just too polarized in this country, and it's true. But do you think this is just too much of sort of a radical idea that couldn't happen? Like, do you think one day Americans can realize, oh, we're all being manipulated by algorithms and social media, and we're actually we shouldn't be at each other's throats, and we can work together, and the politics can say, hey, let's all stop fighting and try our best to work together? Or is that just too far of a pipe dream?
Do you want the math response? The math response is not a chance in hell.
I know.
So here's the deal. So when, and this is sort of like an analyzing from the micro and then applying it to the macro. And because there's a link between the two. So when something good happens, right? How much energy and attention do you pay to something, to acknowledge it, to live in the moment, to bring memories up? Or is it kind of like a forced thing? It feels good every once in a while to bring something good up into whatever, but you don't fixate on it, right? Your brain is not programmed. Your neurons don't fire to spend a majority of your time just taking the good and the idealistic and the noble and the virtuous and always be thinking of that, right? Mm-hmm. Versus how often do you reminisce about things that make you feel terrible? Like what makes you get off the couch? Something good gets you motivated and inspired to get off the couch, or something bad motivates and gets you off the couch? So on the micro level, people are programmed to respond to negativity. Yeah. And so when you scale that up to the macro, you will never inspire long-term motivation on the good stuff unless you have the underpinnings and foundation on something that that I'm not going to say idolizes, but it sort of like puts it on the pedestal where you spend almost all of your time talking and thinking and trying to do better. If you did a stopwatch on negative versus positive on any group of people, when you're experiencing tons of bad, it's cool, nice little reprieve to go think about something good. But you're only motivated because you're creating a void from the bad to pay attention to the good. So mathematically, zero chance. We'll have a attention span of about 5 minutes on something like, yeah, you should totally do that. And then something over here will captivate your attention, and you will totally forget that you were trying to put your energy in something good because that one is way more interesting. Take a movie where death and devastation versus a feel-good movie, and which one is better or gets more eyeballs on it.
Yeah, and I mean, even this whole idea, like, this isn't a new concept he just came up with.
No.
But we're hearing about it because things have gotten so bad.
Yeah. So consumers are in charge of this, and consumers have decided what it's going to be. And there aren't going to be little micro instances of positive motivation to change that wave. So mathematically, feels good in the moment, doesn't have any lasting power. I believe in it. I wish that would be a true thing that would grasp, but it will not until there is a revival of something that controls positive sentiment and gets people addicted to positive sentiment.
And I feel like we got like a toe in the water of that. Like a toe in the water. Honest to God, I feel like I've been retraining my brain over the last several weeks. And the silver lining, I guess, of the Charlie Kirk assassination is it has brought to light the need for that. The need to retrain our brains, buy into the positive, the dopamine hits, the good feelings, the positive activities over all the bad.
Okay, we're in January of them. I'm going to go to the gym thing. So far, we're flooded with positive sentiment.
Yeah.
And now everybody collectively has to say, how do we keep this boat moving on the positive sentiment? But a majority, you can use the same ratio. 80% of the people are going to bail out once the chemical response to feeling good goes away, and they're going to be sucked back into the habits that were before. And 20% are going to be changed, and they're going to have lasting improvement. But wait till next year, and it's going to be the same 20%.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you physically let yourself go so much to the point that you were just like, I have to change. I don't want to live this way anymore. And then you discipline yourself enough to change. Same thing, but mentally. Like, I can't live in the doom and gloom and the negativity and the fighting anymore. I can't. I'm not looking at content like that. I'm not engaging with people that want to argue about stuff like that. I'm not listening to music that makes me think of things like that. And honest to God, like, it does feel different. It feels different. We talked last week about the idea of like, go touch grass, like just get off of social media.
But you can't see, that's what's important. What you mentioned is being surrounded in an environment. Again, use your stopwatch thing to see how many things, the people that you hang around with, the music that you watch, the videos that you watch, take you down a path where you feel bad versus feel good. If you're motivated for good, it means that your foundation, your family talks about good things, your neighbors talk about good things, everybody you're around, the music, all those influences are constantly guiding you direction instead of you feeling bad, feeling good. Everything around you will hint to you all day long to start looking for bad in society. And so, you're taking the bait by surrounding yourself with the bait. You literally have to strip down it. And I'm a big fan of having really small circles and not blessing people into my world that bring me down or make a suggestion that, oh, you were happy, you should feel really bad, and here's why. Right? So turn off the effing TV, turn off the music that makes negative suggestions, and kick people out of your life that are terrible.
This is funny because we just talked about how I'm going to say something good and you're going to find a way to rain on my parade.
Yes, right. Totally. Yeah.
I should be like, I'm sorry, Joe Danyi, you're too negative for me.
It's totally negative. But that's why I asked you, do you want the mathematical, right? And that's just the truth. If you just want the science of truth, that we're on an unstoppable road at this point, unless we can get the collective to completely change their mind and promise me they're going to go to the gym from January all the way to December, even when it gets hard. And I don't have faith that a majority of people can come through on that promise.
Maybe a good amount. Probably not
20%. There, again, you're dealing with 80-20 here.
I did have a creepy little thing happen to me over the weekend that sort of just shows like when you're looking for certain things, you'll find them. When you're looking for positivity, you'll find it. Friday afternoon, I sort of went down this rabbit hole because Halloween's coming. I've always been into creeping myself out. I'm sort of getting away from that. And I think it's because real life is just so scary and negative that it's no longer fun anymore to just go and find the creepy things. Real life is that way. But somehow found myself watching some creepy stuff on YouTube. There's like this group of people that do like haunted places in Ohio. And they were at a place in Youngstown. And I was watching this video. This was like years ago, but I just saw the video. And they're like this paranormal group, and they're, trying to talk to ghosts in this creepy place. And I'm pretty skeptic, but it was kind of interesting to watch. And then I got bored with it, and got led to another video of like.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
You should start a YouTube channel called The Pretty Skeptic. That would be amazing.
The Pretty Skeptic.
The Pretty Skeptic. I'd watch that channel.
Pretty Skeptic or Pretty Skeptic?
You could play it both ways.
Or I'm pretty skeptic about it.
It would play both ways. The Pretty Skeptic.
We're revisiting this idea later.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like that. Don't forget about that. But yeah, so then it led me into this video of this Catholic priest in an interview talking about exorcism and the idea of exorcism and demon possession and is it real? And this other guy who's skeptic, like, oh, funny that none of this is ever caught on camera. And he's explaining why they don't record things, but here's what he saw. And I was like, again, skeptic, but ooh, creepy, fun to be creeped out. And then it led me into another video of Charlie Kirk in an interview where somebody had asked him, how do you feel about demon possession and things of that nature? And he was saying, he believes in it. He thinks it's real, but he's like, it's not like you're walking around one day and, oh, demon got you. Like, you're not just like, oh, suddenly possessed. He says, what happens is you invite it in. The content you watch, the movies you watch, what you listen to, what you engage in. Then people start messing with the occult and tarot cards and games of that nature. And it comes into your life slowly that way. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I used to play with stuff like that because I thought it was just fun, not really believing anything. Well, and it's been years since I did that. So that night, this was all Friday afternoon. Friday night, I go to bed and I wake up in the middle of the night. I had started having a bad dream. And right before it got uber scary, thank goodness I woke up. And I woke up to my son walking in my room. And I was like, oh, hey, buddy. And he's like, Mom, I had a bad dream. And I was like, he hasn't done this in a while. And I said, all right, well, let me take you back to bed. It's okay. I put him back to bed. And I was like, how interesting. I woke up from a bad dream to my son walking in to tell me he was just having a bad dream. And then in that next morning, I was telling my husband, yeah, I didn't sleep good. And by the way, he was in our room last night with a bad dream. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah. And he goes, something went through our house last night. And I said, what are you talking about? And he's like, I got up to go to the bathroom. And I swear to you, I saw a black shadow walk right down the hall. And I was like, what, like us? Like, was a kid going to the bathroom or something? He's like, I don't know. I was half awake, but I'm telling you, I saw a shadow move through our house. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is all just a little too creepy. Did I invite something in? Did I do something? Like, and again, I don't really believe in that kind of hocus pocus stuff, but it was just so interesting that the noticing of the negative started to spiral. And the moment I was like, all right, we're done. Went back to my little Christian praise and worship music. We were supposed to watch a movie that night. We didn't. Instead, we watched The Chosen again, some more episodes. Started to feel better. Everybody slept great.
Okay. Did you learn anything?
I learned if you're looking for something, you'll find it.
Okay.
Let's
just say next October you're like, hey, let me dance with some demons here.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like,
hey, watch some creepy
wait, something's
stuff.
pretty. There should be a little flag that goes up, or you write an envelope and you say, "Dear Kelin, next year in October." When you start doing that stuff, you're inviting negative. Do you want negative? Yes, no, and you check a little box, and if you want some, and that was a reminder that you are about to do something, and you can question whether or not you should do it.
And I'm gonna creep myself out.
Yeah. So.
But you don't in any way believe that there was anything supernatural happening.
I believe in the multiverse. I believe in the simulation. And so can you conjure things up? Your conscious brain is capable of way more than you think it is. And can we do the blue car thing and it play out every time? Absolutely. So if you know that's a thing, it's a phenomenon that you've experienced more than one, then you got to be choosy about what you invite in. You can choose anything. Millions of different things you can conjure into your world. Don't pick that one.
Yeah.
That's it. There are other ones. They're good ones.
Yeah, because I have seen it's very, very real. Start inviting positive things and they will come.
Right.
I mean, it's literally been like we've had times in our lives recently where it was just like, oh my gosh, what a fortunate happenstance just happened. Or, oh my gosh, we needed this. And here we have an answer to a problem that, these series of events in our lives that went here. And oh my gosh, now I had an issue. And because we're here, it's solved. And a lot of things that have worked out in our favor. And if you look for that and you realize that, like, honest to God, I've always said that I'm a bit of a hopeless, maybe like incurable optimist, but it's because I think I see that more often. I don't know if I consciously made that decision years ago. I feel like I consciously do now, but like there's so many things to see and be like, oh, that's so great. Oh, how fortunate we are that happened or that we have this or that. And you will literally like set yourself on this trajectory of feeling good all the time, or you can set yourself up to feel bad all the
you're
time.
You're a normie, right? And so normies do like gambling. So, let me kind of frame it this way. So if let's just say you had a barbell and it had weights on it, right? And you lift the barbell, your brain has an association with doing a thing. There's a utility in doing that thing.
Yeah.
Right. You're doing it for a reason. And the reason is X. It's a hard thing. It's heavy. And there's a positive benefit or a net gain somewhere down on lifting the barbell. If there was a heavy thing sitting in your front yard and it didn't need to be moved and you weren't really working on your physical health, you wouldn't just go lift that thing for the sake of doing it, because your brain understands that if you're going to do a friction and you don't know why you're doing it, you don't do it. It doesn't even occur to you. But it seems on the psychological thing, like you can create a friction while dancing with a demon, right? If you're doing it for utility, where you're creating a psychological immune system for doing something that's hard, right? But you know why you're freaking doing it. But if you're gambling and you just want to do a thing and you don't know the reason why, and you're willing to take a risk that you don't even know that there's a positive benefit, but you're willing to accept the negative benefit for what? For the chemical bath that your brain's about to get. That's just an addictive habit, right? Rather than a utility habit. So I don't care if you pull out the Ouija board and say, I'm doing this because I want to have a good immune system against things that I shouldn't play with, to get good at fighting back against things as they happen. And you walking into it knowing that there's a reason why you're doing it. And that's what normies don't have, the utility side. It's all gambling. So that's my recommendation to you is if you can't, like, let's just say you have to defend your action and you have to tell me why you're doing something and not be embarrassed why you're doing it and not do it if you'd be embarrassed. That's the relationship you should have with doing things like that.
Do you believe in Ouija boards?
What does it mean, believe in? Do
you think an actual spirit of a spiritual realm can communicate you?
I don't think it works
through a board that you bought at Toys R Us.
I don't think it works that way.
I don't either.
I think like if you pick up a lucky rabbit's foot and you have an association with things that you can make different in your brain, different decisions, different exposures, collecting different informations. Can you just like the blue card deal, you put it in your brain that this is lucky. And then these channels in your brain open up because you've done that thing. Is it the rabbit's foot, or the rabbit's foot was a catalyst to do different things in your brain? I think it has more to do with the brain than the rabbit's foot. Yeah.
Like the whole creepy Friday night. Do I feel there was some sort of ghostly or demon presence in the house? No, I was already predispositioned to some creepy content, and obviously shadows move through houses at night. Yeah. There are sources of light that make shadows, like everything could have been coincidental, but I said, oh, I watched this and then I noticed this and then I noticed this. And then
without tangenting, I mean, this will always hold true, and nobody has, Nobody has proved me wrong on this.
Yeah.
So everything
It's
around
like
you
this.
is information. Everything. Okay.
Mhm.
And your brain can only process so much of it. So you only see, hear, and think so many things of what's been processed. There's a whole lot of information that never reaches the brain where you've seen it and recognized that it's there. Your subconscious brain sees it all, right?
Mhm.
And so when you put your brain on the mission of digging into stuff, so if you're like, lucky things happen to me, right?
Mhm.
Then your brain is saying, aye, Captain, I'm going to start looking for things and making decisions and giving you intuitions and giving you feedback on what you just told me to do, which is collect things, right? Do things that make good things happen. And if you're like, man, I am so unlucky things happen to me. And your subconscious is like, aye, Captain, let me start collect. It doesn't give two shits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What you asked it to do, it doesn't question it. Whatever you ask it to do, it freaking does. So if you're like, hey, this house is probably pretty creepy, subconscious goes, aye, Captain, starts looking for information that will then confirm what you've given it to do. It was happening anyway, but it wasn't registering until you've given it the mission to go ahead and do that. So sorry for the tangent on that, but let's talk about some politics stuff. Portland, Oregon. Portland,
Oregon.
Yes.
What happened in Portland, Oregon?
So Portland, Oregon is where everything, we're talking demons here. All the demons live in Portland, Oregon.
Really?
Right? Oh, they're demonic, crazy, mindless, trolling people all live in Portland, Oregon.
No offense, Portland, Oregon.
No, much offense.
You're like
Portland,
all
Oregon.
the offense.
Yes, everything that is terrible on the West Coast is sort of like in California. There's pockets of this insanity, and Portland, freaking Oregon.
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
I think I have some family that lives there. Maybe.
They're probably insane.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, the Antifa organization, and I am calling it an organization because that's what it is, was determined. This administration has deemed it a terrorist group, and so the terrorist group says, just like they did with Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda is not a real organization; it's an idea. You can't fight terrorism; it's just an idea, right?
Yeah.
So Antifa isn't people that collect money and rouse protests, right? It's just an idea, and you can't fight against it. But anyway, it was deemed a terrorist organization, and they were targeting the ICE deployments and whatever in these cities, the sanctuary cities, the law-breaking, insane cities, right? ICE is like, F you. The federal government doesn't allow you to do illegal stuff, even if you think it's kind of cool. And they're like, we're going to take federal law, and regardless if you want us to or not, we're going to do that. And so Portland Insanity got together, and I'm sure the George Soros group that funds all of these protests got involved. And they are putting themselves outside of the ICE facilities, the federal buildings that they do their detaining, and they bring them back to the federal building and whatever. And they were blocking these exits and just being a pain in the ass to federal agents. And like I said last week, so long that you just, have a prayer vigil on the sidewalk holding a sign and don't interfere, you're fine. You're expressing your displeasure. That's great. You can have displeasure. But the minute that you start engaging, right, and touching and getting in the way of
blocking,
right, now you've committed a crime because you're obstructing federal agents from doing whatever it is that you're doing. And before, in Portland, Oregon, the police would sort of like pretend to do law enforcement, where they walk up to you and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. But then when they start chanting louder, the police would flee. So totally neutered police departments won't enforce the actual law. And so they've emboldened Portland, Oregon, and just they can do whatever. They're just anarchy centers. But now the federal agents aren't holding back. They're not taking shit anymore. So they say, cars coming out, get to the side. If you get to the side, you're cool. If you don't, now you are a potato sack that I will throw and push and get you out of the way. So you have a choice to do it on your own. If you don't want to do it on your own, you're going to be moved
or I will
with
move
reckless
you.
abandon. Right. And that's what we've been seeing is videos of people being thrown. Big fat lady comes and gets in front of a nice vehicle and tries to stop it. She gets pushed. She tries to get back and she gets launched over to the side.
I have not seen that.
Oh. So anyway, as an example of now, they're not effing around. So if you're going to eff around, So Portland has the stones, at least to say, oh, well, we're Portland, we're not going to listen to this authority. And so watching these people get launched, that one dude had, they're doing pepper, they're doing tear gas and pepper spray, and they're doing paintballs. And this one dude had like 40 paintball welts on his back, right? And I was like, yes.
F around and find out.
That's it. And that, so he took his shirt off and he was showing it as a massive look at this cruelty. But what okay, so you ever watch those videos where some little girl goes up to a guy and punches him or slaps him in the face, and then he turns around and just launches her, right?
No.
Oh, these videos are my favorite because this
you mean literal little girl?
Oh yeah,
or an adult who's little?
No, it's an adult.
Okay, it's not a child,
but not exactly your MMA fighter, right?
Yeah, but
emboldened with, well, guys aren't going to hit me, so I'm going to go up and hit them. And when they get launched, I'm like, yes, right? So that's what I see as these ICE agents, that these protesters aren't used to being manhandled. They're used to getting their way. So there's these spoiled little, fat people who all of a sudden gets a taste of what real justice looks like. And I am here for it. It's my favorite thing to watch now.
I wonder if I'm not seeing any of this because I've surrounded myself with positive content.
Probably.
I'm not allowing myself to watch rage bait anymore.
Well, I am doing research because I got to protect my family and know when it's time, when the Civil War launches, whether or not what I have to do to protect myself. And so long that it stays in Insanityville, I'm cool. If it starts happening local.
And how do you know, though, what you're watching is real?
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give it credence, though. I think because of the nature of where the videos are coming from, it's not going through traditional media. It's just going from someone's camera phones. And when it's believable because I expect this to happen. Yeah. And I expect now the response to be, so it all lines up.
Like I saw somebody post over the weekend. I can't remember what state they were in. I can't remember where they were living, but they showed pictures of ICE agents walking around this neighborhood. And she's like, this is a neighborhood close to where I live. I don't believe this. I can't believe they're out here harassing everyone. And I'm like, well, that picture is just two guys standing around on a sidewalk, not harassing anyone, literally not doing anything. You said they're harassing people, but what you posted is not harassment. And so that I always say to people, like, start realizing where your outrage comes from. Is it an idea someone just told you to believe, or what you're actually seeing? Now, it sounds like you're actually seeing people getting hit and pummeled and whatnot. But how often would you say you see something, somebody told you what it is, and now you're outraged, when it's like, you didn't write your own caption on here? I'm like, what am I looking at? Two guys standing around? It's like, we're now just being groomed towards a narrative and then being shown visuals backing it up as though it may not even be true. It might be totally out of context.
Yeah. And when you watch some of these longer videos, you get full context because it makes sense of what protocols happen with law enforcement and how ICE agents really behave. And so if you saw a clip of just that ICE agent launching that woman, and they claim that they have it out for just innocent people walking down the street, versus watching a lady walk out and say, stop vehicle, protect the immigrants, right?
Yeah.
And then the person coming over and saying, hey, get over to the sidewalk. And then her saying, no, I'm not getting over the sidewalk. And then seeing her being put, like, the storyline makes sense because I saw it from before it happened to after she's lying on the ground, cry teary-eyed, right?
And that's why I say, when we talked last week, and I'm like, I'm telling you, it would be a better world if we got off social media, but I don't mind YouTube because I am pro long format video, long format interviews. Yeah. See the setup, see what was actually said, see it from different angles. Don't just let yourself be manipulated by a snapshot that can look however way someone wants it to look.
So there was an environmental protester that I don't know what city this is. I just saw a clip of it, and they went in the middle of the road and they glued their hand to the pavement. So they're in the road. They can't be moved. Their hand is glued to the pavement. So when we're talking justice, right, what do they deserve in that moment? And then I'll tell you what they actually did. But
a straight jacket?
Straight jacket?
What do they deserve in that moment?
What's the natural justice for something like that?
You'd think they would be arrested.
Okay. Now, would you like what? I'll tell you what they did. They sent a firefighter out there. They used a concrete saw. They cut the pavement around the hand, and they did arrest the person.
And I would make him pay to fix the road.
Fix the road. Okay.
Yeah.
Justice would be. Now, would you do it quickly, or would maybe let him sit there a little while and enjoy? Maybe put a little barrier around him, so whatever. But let him get really hungry, right? And really pay. Like, if you're gonna glue it, why is there someone trying to rescue you when you just did that thing?
Yeah. What the hell did he use? That's some
I don't know.
insane glue.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's coming off the hand very easily.
You know what I would do?
What?
I would give them a saw, right?
Dun, dun, dun.
And
Dun,
they would
dun,
have
dun,
to do a
dun, 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 dun.
self-amputation.
Do you say, I want to play a game?
Yes, yes. You glued yourself to the street here and here. You have 1 hour to saw yourself
like,
from freedom.
You were ready to give your life in this moment. Are you ready to lose a limb for your cause? Dun, dun, dun.
We're
Dun, dun,
in
dun,
1
dun,
hour from
dun,
now,
dun,
we're
dun.
going to schedule a road race.
And there's a steamroller coming.
Yes,
Dun, dun,
yes.
dun, 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 dun.
Yes,
Oh!
yes. So that would be good justice, where you glue yourself to the pavement and now you're an amputee. And then you could look every day down at your missing hand and say, what was I thinking?
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. But the dude will get ruin the road. He'll probably have restitution.
Slapped with a fine.
Right, probably not in jail for more than a couple hours. And they do this all the time.
I'm sure
They're
his hand's going to be jacked up.
yeah.
I mean, you can't just put anything on your skin. And look at the lady who used Gorilla Glue in her hair. Remember that story?
Mm.
So this guy's probably going to be like, doctor's going to be like, hey, idiot. Good luck with that. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Why are people dumb?
So how do you rescue an insane city like Portland that is emboldened because of the lawlessness? How do we get the country so that, we know what the rule is, everybody's following the same set, and where the limitations are. And if you want to push on the status quo, then the consequences visit you as they should. And everybody kind of gets a good feeling for what is legal and what is illegal. And so long as you're cool with breaking the law, like if you go fast, you know that you can get a speeding ticket. And if you go fast and get the speeding ticket, you're like, oh, I had that one coming, right? Versus like trying to make an excuse and get away with not getting the speeding ticket. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it's difficult because, again, we are surrounded by everything we need to make someone insane. We're taking people and we're breaking their brains and we're brainwashing them and we're giving them a reason to act crazy. There are supportive people supporting acting crazy. We have leaders in leadership positions also acting crazy and supporting that. It's like they're validated in their nuttiness everywhere they look. Their social media validates them. Their circle of friends validates them. Their government leaders validates them. So they don't believe
and
that
there's
they're
no consequences
wrong.
to being wrong. So yeah, that's what changes it, is the effect of law.
But to even have that, you've got to take away the nuttiness, the lawmakers, the law enforcers.
Well, okay, but if it's artificial, where George Soros has a group of protesters that their job description is they go from protest to protest and they hand out professional signs and they make their nutty people seem like they're huge numbers, versus drying that up, making it illegal to harbor or sponsor protests, then you could identify the nuts, right?
Yeah.
Because if you show up and you break the law, it's not like someone made you do it or are paying you to do it. That was your true nuttiness.
I saw a video recently online. I don't know what they were protesting. It was a group of people protesting in the street about something. And one woman came up to another woman and like misread her shirt and gets in her face. And she's like, oh, blah, 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 and starts insulting her. And the other woman looks at her and she goes, no, I'm against them. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I thought your shirt said something else. Oh, and she's like, oh, it's okay. And they hugged and they went on fighting. And I was like, if you don't take that as an eye opener, you deserve whatever you get.
Mm-hmm.
You just realize what you just did to someone else who's on your side because you're so just like honed in, hate people, fight people, argue, get in the face of someone who's my opponent. And this woman had to be like, I'm also here protesting them. Oh, sorry. Like, pack it in and go home. You're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and no, they don't even realize how nutty that was. Like somebody was like, I'm so glad this moment was caught on camera and online now. But the thing is only the sane people will look at that and realize, oh my God, look how ridiculous we are. The insane will be like, oh, that was funny, and move along doing dumb things.
So the Mormon, no, not Mormon. What was it? Latter-day Saints church fire.
Yeah.
And shooting.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Michigan. I've not read a whole lot into it. I saw somebody posted, they said it was like an Iraq war veteran or something. He like drove a vehicle into this church, shot a couple people, set it on fire. Did he kill himself?
Shootout with the cops, and he ended up dying.
So the cops were involved. Yeah. That's all I really know so far.
General rule is you wait at least a week till all the information comes out to draw any kind of conclusions. But let me write a Jimmy Kimmel joke for you real quick. All right, Jimmy, if you're listening out there, I've never seen liberals try so hard to make this not one of their own. How'd I do?
Because the moment they said Iraq war veteran, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I see why you're doing that. Oh, maybe it was somebody with PTSD. No, that's not why you said that. It's not at all why. Yeah, that's exactly it. But
do you see how quickly we were like, what team were they on? What team were they on? How quickly we need to know that before anything else. That's how bad it is right now.
Yep. Even the 60 Minutes video I watched that I was telling you about the governor of Utah was presented in a way that the interviewer said, oh, yes, he's got this idea of no negative messaging and trying to work with others. And he's a Republican. And they said, even with pushback from his own party. And I was like, oh, you dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't have to put that in there. You purposely worded it to make it sound like his party, the Republican Party, doesn't want to unify and work together and have positive messaging and blah, blah, blah. Because guess what? The Democrats have people on that way too. And you purposely worded it that way. You took something that could have been following his lead and let's stop bashing each other and let's only talk about things that are helpful. And in your own setup of the interview, talking about doing just that, you made a divisive comment. That, oh my God, it bugs me so much.
This train's already running. There's nothing going to stop it.
Yeah.
Good morning, Kelin. I'm also saying good morning to Joe, even though he was very rude this weekend. So yeah,
you were rude to Jerry?
Rude to Jerry. There was a slight misunderstanding. And my jokey, when you have written text, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to tell.
You can't tell how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he got caught in the middle of a flippant response from me. I love Jerry.
Been there.
Love Jerry. And it was in jest, I assure you.
Yeah, Jerry. Anytime I have to text Joe, I think Joe's mad at me. Like all the time. And I'm like, oh, why'd he say it like that?
Well, I will tell you.
And then I have to be like, oh, because Joe is void of emotion.
I will tell you though, Jerry took your allyship, and it was pivotal. He said he was gonna stop listening to me, but he was gonna follow you wherever you went. So Jerry,
really, Jerry,
loves Kelin.
Thanks, Jerry.
BFFs.
The Pretty Skeptic. Follow it online. It's gonna be a new thing.
Love it.
Thanks, Jerry.
See.
Why were you rude to Jerry?
So they was telling the story of the stolen TV, and I started out. Jerry,
yeah, which by the way, I still need that.
That story.
It's
coming soon. Cliffhanger.
Oh gosh.
So And Jerry said that he was going to buy the TV, right? He was going to buy the TV. And I said, dead to me, right? As in, it could have been two trails. Either he was like, well, I know where to get myself a TV, which the dead to me thing would have hit.
Joking,
and then he qualified and said, no, I was going to buy the TV so we can out the person who stole it.
Well, that's what I said. Is he going undercover, finding who's selling it?
That's the path that he was in. But I took it and I said, dead to me. And that's when he said, I'll follow Kelin. Screw you, Joe. But I mean, he
see how that happens though.
100%.
We're in this. That is social media. Mm-hmm. That is social media to a T, is a giant world of misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. And now we're all living in the mindset of misunderstanding. And we all have our preconceived biases of who's saying what and why they're saying it. Now you can't freaking say anything and they'll just run with it. Like last week, we were talking about Tylenol and we said, maybe we should be skeptical of the videos coming out one day later after the Tylenol drama broke and saying, maybe you're not having liver failure the very next day. Mm-hmm. And what did we get? Immediately a comment came up. Tylenol can cause liver failure. Go listen to the context and what we just said.
Yeah.
Obviously,
because
we
here's
know
the
that.
thing. You got a million different people that are doing commentary.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to spend the time to get to know my personality or how I joke about things or how flippant I am. So they can take it any way they want. And a lot of things can be taken 15 different ways. So then all you got to do is a firing squad that nobody knows the intentions of anybody else.
For example, Trump at Charlie Kirk's memorial. Did you hear him say, oh, maybe I should take some lessons from Erica because I hate my enemies?
Yes.
How did you take that?
I don't know, joke, comedy session,
joke, a lighthearted dig in a very serious, sullen environment, trying to ease the tension, trying to maybe crack a smile for someone in an uncomfortable, joking way. Not at all. Let me take this moment to vanquish my enemies and spread hate and division and tell you how much I hate my opponents. But depending on where you are on the political spectrum, oh, I can't believe such a jerk would take this moment and further divide people. And everyone else is like, not at all how he meant that. Not at all how he meant that.
It's okay, though. I mean, again, if you're looking, you want to hate somebody. Okay, so you're at a wake. Somebody you know dies, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're standing in the back and you're having conversations and maybe you're even talking about something that has nothing to do with it. And Uncle Bob comes up to you and makes some kind of like, hey, when they were alive, not this many people showed up, and makes like an off-color whatever, right? If you want to hate Bob and like, I can't believe Bob said that at this thing. What a soulless bastard. Versus like, it's Bob jokes all the time like that. And he's probably pretty right about what he said, but I'm going to take that with a grain, right? Because either if you want to hate him, you can. If you want to think he's the funniest joke teller there is, probably improper time to raise that joke, but you're not going to throw him in the dustbin of society, right?
Yeah. And if it's truly a joke, I've been at a funeral where somebody made a completely inappropriate remark in seriousness. And I was like, everything in me to not punch you right now. But again, know the person, know the context, know what they mean by it.
And everybody can take, if somebody's your enemy, right? You don't like them. And you want to like take everything they say and either make it literal or not literal, depending on the advantage, make your play. The problem is that we put every problem that we have through a political filter, right? And so everything becomes political. So everything becomes that argument. Where what's the first thing that you do with your with someone who's having an argument with you? Is you diminish their credibility. You make them look stupid. You make them look like they don't have the intelligence, the background, whatever, right? So that what they say is carried with less value. That's number one, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they do in politics. So if, RFK says something, what are you going to do? You're going to go after the things that, even if it's right.
Yeah, I would say, especially if you can't prove them wrong.
Right.
If they're like, oh, they're actually giving good, truthful information, we can't have that. Let's just discredit him.
Right. And so in a court, right? So if you say something, you say your boss sexually harassed you, right? Mm-hmm. And the attorney on the other side finds out where you told a lie in 7th grade, right? you're going to be offended because what you're saying is true. And they're making the case that you have no business saying information because you lied one time. Those two things, one is a data point. That doesn't mean that you can't tell a truthful thing later on in your world, but you get so hung up on diminishing the credibility of the person that said the true thing instead of looking at the true thing and seeing if it is true or not.
Yeah. Oh, I want to get to Julie's comment. Jerry says, I understood. I have known you for almost 15 years now. It actually was all in fun banter.
Yeah, so see, then I switched gears and took him seriously when he was ribbing me equally as hard as I was ribbing him, and it turned into this whole misunderstanding cluster. Thanks, Jerry, for sending out that chaos.
That's like, have you ever like gotten into banter with your spouse and then actually turned mad?
Yes, yeah.
Where JR, I've had that where my husband's like, wait a minute. I
We're
thought we were joking.
right?
And I was like, no, now I'm pissed. It does happen.
Yeah.
But here's a perfect example. I'm so glad Julie weighed in here. Do you really think Trump doesn't hate his opponents? His actions of purging his opponent says he was dead serious.
Yes. I think everybody on every political stage hates their opponent and takes chunks out of them. Every single one.
And here's what we have also seen. There's video online of Trump being told in real time that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had just passed away. Big opponent of his, somebody that he beefed with all the time. And what was his reaction? Oh, good, vanquish my enemies. I'm so happy. No, it's, oh my gosh, that's terrible news. I feel for her family. I really respected her. I'm so sorry to hear that. And then had to go somewhere. But it was, everything he said was nice. There's a debate, a political debate from years ago when Trump and Hillary Clinton were running against each other. And the moderator said, can both of you say something nice about the other? And he talked about Hillary Clinton saying, you know what? She's a fierce opponent. She never gives up. She's fiery. I really respect that in her, that she fights for what she believes in and she goes after it. She doesn't back down. And I respect that. Then there's another instance of Bill Maher. Bill Maher has said a lot of hateful things about Trump and how he disagrees. And what did Trump do? Had dinner with Bill Maher and had an open discussion where Bill Maher himself has said he was very cordial. He was very respectful. He listened to me without pushback, without a but. He just listened to me and took it all in. And he was very, very easy to talk to. Now, can he still hate his enemies? Yes. Can he also make a joke and still be a decent human being? Yes. And whatever side you think he was, your predisposition to believe that, Julie.
See, I love this because the dance is almost over. See, what we're talking about is if you take things that are untrue but are accepted, right? We are more in love with the illusion than we are into truth. But with technology, like here's what's going to basically happen. With AI and technology and connecting the brains in with the real thing, you're going to be able to walk around and not necessarily let you concoct words to say that make me feel a certain way. I'm going to be able to just see your thoughts and you're not going to be able to hide them. I'm just going to know real truth, right? So if, let's just say somebody wronged you and you're kind of mad at them and you're just mad in the moment, but you don't really hate them, but you're just mad at them. And then something comes along where something good is going to happen for somebody that you're mad at. In words, you're going to stifle your real thoughts and say, well, in spite of me being angry right now, I hope good things happen to them because that's the right thing to say and do. But if your brain could talk in that moment and your words couldn't, you're going to see, I hope that good thing doesn't happen to that person because I'm really mad at them right now. Which one is true? The bullshit that came out of your mouth, which was the right thing to say, or your true thoughts, which is you hope it doesn't happen and maybe even some bad things visit that person because that would be your true thought. We are going to get to see truthful, even if it has nothing to do with the dance. If the dance is now irrelevant, you can just see thoughts in their real pure form.
Yeah.
It changes all of social behaviors. So Trump is the real thoughts. The dude just does not know how to say the proper thing. It's just whatever he was thinking and feeling. And I like that we get to warm up to the fact that we're not going to be able to bullshit in the future.
Yeah, like Carter says, they tried to kill Trump twice. They tried to send him to jail. They tried to break him and his family. So how would you expect Trump to feel about his enemies? That's another thing, too, is like, I feel like one side's always trying to get this gotcha. Gotcha, look, he is hateful. Do you expect him to like people that come after him? Should he enjoy when people try to attack him? And again, I still, one, wouldn't blame him or anyone else for not liking the opponents because they're pretty harsh. And two, can also think that he can make a lighthearted comment in a serious situation in an attempt to ease the tension. I think both can be true.
See, I think it's more valuable that if the press just asked him, he would just say the thing. You don't have to, like if you said, hey, I bet you if he would take that tax break, because that's his gotcha. If you said, hey, would you take that tax break? He was like, yeah, it'd be stupid not to take that tax break. So you don't even need to say those things and create a mystery of someone he's trying to play someone. Yeah. He will tell you right off the get-go.
Yeah. Oh, I love all these videos where somebody accuses a politician on either side of doing something that's awful or hateful, or they disagree with it, or it's just wrong. And then you go back and just a couple years ago, their opponent did and said the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And I so badly want to be like, do you get it? Now do you get it? Like we're so manipulated to just blindly follow things.
I'm not even going to say manipulated anymore. All we are doing is everybody has access to uncontrolled information. All this stuff existed, but there was an illusion that was generated before. The illusion is not now. The illusion was before.
Yeah.
Think about, in the before mass media, and you got to see the president on TV like twice a year or whatever. You didn't read about a lot of stuff that was going on. So you really didn't know what the heck was going on anyhow. So you probably felt better about everything when you didn't know. Now you know every stick that's happening everywhere. And we're like, things are so much worse right now. No, you just don't know you didn't know half of the stuff before in the enlightenment of having direct connection with all the information you could ever, stomach.
Yeah. And I often wonder, like, how much more violence do we have now compared to what we used to have? Or do we just know more about it?
That's 100% true. We have less illusion now. We have truth and the Matrix theme. Watch it once a month, right? And know what the illusion is what people will buy into. They want the illusion, right? The real world is dirtier. It's more dangerous. And it's not what you thought was going on. So which do you want? The truthful crude, or do you want the illusion dance? And a lot of people are getting bought out of the dance and they don't like it. They want to go back into the Matrix.
I saw an article on Facebook last week, picture of Kelly Clarkson, quotation marks, Kelly Clarkson severing all ties with any LGBTQ-based company and left-leaning companies following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And there's a quote, whole long quote by Kelly, and it says Kelly Clarkson. And I was like, that can't be true. So I did some digging and I did some Googling, and guess what? Fake story, fake news, did no such thing, not a real quote. They stuck her picture on something. It looked like a Facebook page surrounding Kelly Clarkson, and it was all made up. And I was like, guess what, guys? That's daily. Daily, you are surrounded by things to make you feel outraged, and it's not true. And then they put that bias in your head, and then you say, oh, Trump went to a very serious memorial and said something hateful, because it wouldn't even cross your mind that he could have been joking. Not even a thought in your mind. Julie says, should he be using the federal government to get rid of all detractors?
Are they breaking the law? Yay or nay? If they're breaking the law, yes. And
Is Trump the only one that has used the federal government?
I thought that's what you were referencing in your previous statement about what they were doing before. Like come on, Julie, you got to answer this honestly. When the federal government was going after Trump and his entire administration, when they got a grand jury to go after at least 15 people in his inner circle, were you cheering that? And you would think that's the proper use of the federal government, right? And now when Trump is doing the exact same thing, I disagreed with it then and I disagree with it now. I've stayed consistent. But you cannot have cheered it when they went after Trump and now all of a sudden be outraged when Trump goes after those same types of people.
And then Julie says, what about isms again, Kelin? Yes, Julie, you are. You are doing what about isms. The only thing is I'm directly stating it, but you're pointing out things that other people do. And when you're called out on it, you say, well, don't point out other people.
Difference between politics and principle. Let me explain what principle is. Do you think that if someone is speeding down the road, they should ultimately get a speeding ticket that costs $300 to protect children from the dangerous driving of speeding drivers?
Like automatic, harsh
$300,
for
harsh
anything.
penalties, and whatever.
Are we talking like whether they're going?
It's a principle.
Yeah.
Dangerous speeding drivers need a harsh penalty, no exceptions.
If it's dangerous, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you just got pulled over for speeding. Do you think you should have the harshest penalties because you are operating dangerous, or do you want leniency?
I'd probably want some leniency if I thought it was.
So that is the principle. Something that you can accept no matter who is being directed towards. Needs us to say, oh, so the Department of Justice can be wielded by an administration. Either we find out what is just and we can stay consistent, and that way we don't have to like slalom around. When it's directed at us, we feel one way, and when it's directed at the other guy, we feel a different way. Whatever is truthful and accepted, consistently applied, that's where the principle lies. So I'm going to take the principled approach. Do I want justice to have some people given a special deal? So for instance, I believe that pretty much every politician, if you look at them, you can find a reason to indict them. I think they do dirty, bad things, right?
Yeah.
And so if I had a Justice Department, it would have a line of people from both sides of the aisle, and it wouldn't be Jim Comey. It would be Jim Comey and a guy that's on my side. They all both broke the law, and we are exhausted or outraged by both of them.
Yeah.
How dare you go on a public stage and break the law? And we're going to apply justice uniformly towards everyone. Now, this back and forth, like Trump should say this. Oh, you want to indict Republicans? Wait till you're the president again. And I think that's he should say that because that's a truthful statement. When Republicans are in, they go after Democrats. When Democrats are in, they go after Republicans. As long as we're playing this game, in order to go after your other side using the Justice Department, get yourself elected.
Yeah. And that's the thing is it's not like I'm not defending Trump in Trump's awesome and you got the guy all wrong kind of thing. It's just look at what we do. We excuse one side and not the other based on how it benefits us.
Yeah.
Instead
like
of
speeding ticket.
Yeah. Instead of being like, oh, do we think maybe both sides are corrupt and the machine is broken and maybe we should all start working on that problem? No. Don't look at that problem. It's this guy versus this guy, and let's just stay in that fight, which is so futile and pointless.
But they're convinced that their side is no. Like, for instance, if you have a lawbreaker on the right and they were pushing against the status quo, and you have a lawbreaker on your side and they're pushing against the status quo, you think the thing they're pushing them against is noble and they should have, caused some violence and caused disruption.
Yeah.
But the other side, that person should be jailed and maybe even given the electric chair. That's the difference between the two.
Yep. Melanie says, I think the issue is because he says what everyone is thinking, and most people aren't that open and honest. They are worried about always saying the right thing to get votes, and Trump doesn't care. He's going to say it.
Yeah, that's true. And I prefer to know. I'm an information collector. So if people just tell me truthful things, even if I don't like hearing it, I can do something with it and make utility of it. If everybody is just lying and saying the thing that's popular or saying the thing that's politically correct, you don't know where they really stand. Anybody could say they like babies. What if they, and this was probably my first interaction when I was 19, 20. I started doing marketing for famous people, right? And I got to watch them when the cameras were on and then after the cameras were off, and there were two different people. The person that said all the right things in front of the camera, so everybody would goo and gaw for them, And then when it was gone, they were not great people. And I'm like, same people. Why are they like me when the camera comes on? I am the same dude no matter where I go. I don't say things just for the person I'm talking. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the truth. And that's it. There's one version of me.
Yeah.
But to live life as a politician or a famous person that have to craft some kind of personal, public personality, or persona, that would be exhausting, first off. And the one is total bullshit.
Yeah. And that's why I had so much respect for RFK Jr. when he was running, because I would watch them dig up dirt on him and he would flat out admit to it. Like the whole bear in Central Park thing, the bear cub and laying a dead bear in the park or whatever. And this was like brought up to make him look crazy or make him look bad and look what he did and how can you trust this guy? And I was like, all right, let me see what happened. Let me see what's out there. Is he a nutcase? And he flat out put it out there. I did. It was dumb. I was sitting around drinking with some buddies. It was the worst idea ever. I regret it. I wish I could take it back. Yeah, I used to have a drug problem. Yeah, I used to have a problem with this. And I did some really dumb shit. Here's what I did. I regret it. And I was like, I respect that. Mm-hmm. I will listen to you say, I did something really dumb. I effed up. I regret it all day long before I hear some bullshit, dance around, deflect, don't address it, kind of say, oh, that's not true, whatever, BS. Like I've always said, don't lie to me. Just tell me the truth. And I will give you more grace and more props than if I can tell you're spinning it.
So let's just say Gavin Newsom, somebody casts a spell on him and now he just has to tell the truth. And he says, hey, we like to be our sanctuary cities because Democrats just need votes. We need to import Democrat voters so that we can amass more power and we can convert more of the country to Democrats. Would you have respect? At least you'd know the truth.
I'd have more respect for knowing the truth. I'd say he's standing behind what he believes. He's being honest about it. He thinks this is a good thing. I don't fault you. I can understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I may not agree. I may still say, yeah, but at least it'd be like, oh, you know what? At least I don't feel like I can't trust you. At least I know where you're coming from, and you're always going to tell us where you're coming from. That should be where
the media is at, and it really should be taking bullshit lines, and the media pushes on them. So here's how it would go down. Rather than saying what I just said, Gavin Newsom, he says, you know what? We have lots of respect for the culture and the melting pot of the United States. That's really why I want section. We love these people, and we want to see them more of it. And if I'm in the media, I'm like, tell us more about this philosophy where you are just a philanthropist and you think, what other cultures are you wanting to bring in? Like these ones happen to benefit you in a lot of different ways, right? What about the ones that don't benefit? Let's take some a culture that votes Republican. Do you feel the same way about the Republican importees that are going to help your enemy, but because you believe in the melting pot and you want that culture brought in? What about those ones there? And try to take that bullshit narrative and lean on it a little bit to get them to contradict it. And then you get to the truth through that pushback.
Yeah. Or even nowadays when we have so much video evidence of them saying something to the contrary. And I've always said, I don't believe a politician is always lying when they change what they say. I think there are instances that they got new information, things changed, you had to pivot. Say that. So when you have someone that says, oh, we shouldn't be turning these people away and we shouldn't be arresting them and we shouldn't be closing the border and we should allow everybody to come in. And when I say, well, here's a clip of you in 20 whatever teen, play it and, oh, we need to have closed borders and we need to blah, blah, blah.
Be careful with that.
What changed?
Be careful with that because a lot of your older political representatives or political pundits, they're not getting new information and changing. They are setting their barometer up, seeing what's popular, and they are floating on those waves. Bill Maher's a good example of this. If you watch Bill Maher of his career, he's pretty reasonable when in his argumentation. I find myself agreeing with him a lot. Mm-hmm. And then when something becomes really unpopular, I will watch him double back and become less reasonable. He's a bad example because of all of the people I could have picked. He's probably the closest oscillation in that reasonable band. There's much, much worse. But if you take even people like Bernie Sanders or Bill Clinton or Obama, at the time, this wasn't new information. This was whatever gave his position more power.
Yeah. And I would say, was that a popular thing to say back then? And you were just on the bandwagon?
Exactly. They were just floating on the wave rather than having
and like,
belief
tell me why. Tell me what changed. What changed your mind to, you just said we need more border control and closed borders and we need to get illegal people out of here. And now you're saying the exact opposite. Just tell us what changed.
Give us, and you would expect the media to be all over that, but they're not. They don't do their job. They are not filling the role of what media pushback is supposed to be. They're trying to become famous through being in the press pool, and it's all about making enemies to make you famous and making friends that make you famous. They are not there to get information.
Yeah, for sure. Julie says, states went after Trump. Trump violated the Constitution, and he was about to be prosecuted for it until he ran for president.
And I'm sure at the midterms, if the Democrats take over, put in an envelope, there will be impeachment, no matter what. No, they have already got we want to do an impeachment when we get control again. Let's start digging up our reasons rather than here's the reasons. Ooh, this is warranting an impeachment. It's inverted.
Yep, absolutely. Dennis says, Obama said he wanted to radically transform this country. I think he did it.
Comey broke the law. He intentionally classified info, so the Dems say nobody is above the law until it's one of their own. And even at the time that this was coming out, I want to say this was every bit of, 6-7 years ago when this was happening. It was known that he leaked it to the press, right? Mm-hmm. So right there, I'm like, okay, hold on. So if our government's like a sieve, anything that helps Democrats gets leaked to it. We can't find out who's leaking it. Because I would expect if you wanted to get something leaked, you wouldn't do it themselves. You would send it through a proxy that if someone's going to go down for it, it wouldn't be you. But here they were so bold, they were just doing it themselves, signing off on it themselves. And my single fear, whether or not be in every department that is under this current administration, you've got saboteurs that are right now working for your department. If you don't think that they are directly working against what you're trying to do and leaking things, right, you're big mistaken. If it were me, I would fire everyone right from get-go. A holdover from a previous administration. You don't think that there's some loyalty in the previous administration's employees? Come on.
Yeah. And one of the things that the governor of Utah said in the 60 Minutes interview when he was saying, no, obviously I don't ever want to run for president, nor do I think somebody who's trying to unify would win. He even made a comment about like, he believes that at his level in the office of governor, you are required to show real work being done. You are required to show results and make things happen. He says federal level is theater. It's all for 100%. Show. You have nothing you actually have to be accountable for. And that's like, when you hear things like, they're going to go after Trump legally, they're going to indict Comey, they're going to whatever, I was like, meaningless. News headlines, and that's all it is. Because how often does anyone at the federal level actually go to prison or actually lose their job or, Trump's a 37-time felon, yet here he is, president of the United States again. Mm-hmm. Didn't matter, and it's just like, there's so much theater and theatrics at that level. And like a reality show junkie, we all just eat it up. Mm-hmm. It is, to me, our government is the biggest example of reality TV. That's all it freaking is. And I totally related when he said that. Lower levels, you actually got to do something. You're actually going to be held accountable. You actually have to make something happen and be audited for your work. Federal level, show, doesn't matter. Oh, you're going to be indicted. Okay. Oh, you're going to have a felony. Meaningless. Oh, I'm going to come after you and I'm going to break the Constitution and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I'm going to pay people off. I'm going to sweep it under the rug. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to discredit you, and it goes nowhere ever.
There's still an island that used to serve underage girls to people of prominence and power. And my scorecard currently has 0 people indicted for it. So if you can take the worst crime that people can commit, one of the worst crimes that people can commit.
Yeah.
And nobody goes to jail. I don't have much faith
Yeah.
that you could be kind of selective of who you give a pass to on following the law.
Do you think this country and our government gives two shits if Donald Trump mislabeled something in QuickBooks 37 times when people just went and sexually abused underage women for years in mass quantities, and we have no one, not a
Zero.
single name,
Not a name,
not
no
a
indictments,
single anything,
no
not
justice.
a single shred of evidence for anyone, and we're all supposed to care
and
that Trump
and what means
misused money.
what it means is there are thousands of people, not even taking the perpetrators out of it. There are thousands of people who know and have protected that whole group of people. Thousands of people that are currently in government right now that could say, all right, I'm going to be a good human being and make sure that these girls get justice for what these people did to them. Not zero, not just a couple. Like, even if they took 10 people and they outed them and they put them in jail and they didn't even really know, at least we'd feel like some sense of justice was possible. The entire mechanism of government protected this group of people over 2 decades.
Yeah. How about, do you buy into any of the rhetoric that the Clintons have people killed?
Is it a possible thing? Yeah.
And what do we shed more light on? Trump's felonies or the potential that a major government family has had people killed? But Trump's a felon. Based off of what? And ask me which one of those I would throw more weight onto. That's why it's so stupid. Like, everybody, for the love of God, please just admit, because again, I have more respect. I used to say, when I was a big Trump basher back in the day and I hated Trump, I used to say all the time, I would pay good money to watch someone punch him in the face. I'd love to see it. I'll flat out tell you, it has nothing to do with policies. He just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like his arrogance, and I just have a bias. For the love of God, just admit people have a bias, because I will have more respect for you if you say that than if you drum up the most pointless drivel that your favorite newscaster told you to feel. And all you do is just say, I have a preconceived notion of this person I already hate. Now they can do no right. And I like this person and they can do no wrong. Just admit it. Just admit it.
So here's an interesting thought experiment. I want you to take someone who's in public political life, and I want you to name one person who is a hero, a virtuous, noble, truth-telling, always on the good side, the Superman of
totally
government.
Unblemished.
Yep.
I don't think it exists.
Okay. Now, what about a villain? Are there any villains there?
Yes.
You can, like, 50 could pop into your brain right off the get-go. So we have and this is the libertarian in me talking. We are being ruled by villains who were capable of creating a machine that support other villains. And if you can't name, like, I can think of noble actions, like Mike Pence, right? Mike Pence has obviously made some mistakes, but there are some noble actions that I can recall him saying, like the never being in the same room with a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that is a noble action. That is a noble gesture that I think Superman would do the same kinds of things. But I can't take a person and quote any of them as having any kind of noble personality or total actions standing for truth and justice in the American way. There's
even some criticism about Trump and Erica Kirk at this memorial. Trump looked very uncomfortable hugging her. He was like, okay, they're there. And some people might be like, oh my God, he's so heartless. I'd be terrified if I was already under a microscope as a male president, and in this very public setting, I'm touching this woman openly. You're telling me he's not thinking, oh, everyone's just waiting. Everyone's just waiting to watch my hand placement. They're just waiting to see how close I am. They're just waiting to tear this and make this something inappropriate. You've got to be out of your mind to be in the public eye like that and let some woman be all up on you in any, I wouldn't blame someone for being like, okay, they're there. Can we stop touching? Everyone's watching.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think Trump has had people killed? I do not. I think that he was a ruthless business person. And so you could probably gather a couple thousand people who felt they were shafted by the president, outmaneuvered, out negotiated, out contracted. And so he's got a lay of enemies for sure. Let's see. Comey is no friend of the Dems, but all right. She brought this up. Julie brought up Comey. Do you remember what Comey did right before the election with Hillary Clinton? The release that to this day, I don't know why he did it. Do you remember the press release right before the election?
What about emails or?
Yes. It hurt Hillary Clinton like nobody's business a couple of months before the election. And so what Julie's saying is that he wasn't kind to the Hillary Clinton. So has anybody ever floated a hypothesis about why Comey did that? If he was bought in with Democrats and he was friendly with Hillary Clinton, why he exposed her right before the election? That never made sense to me.
Nobody's asked him?
I don't know. It makes no sense. That's the one thing that I'm like, why would he all of a sudden help Donald Trump by exposing the email gate thing right before the election? Was it because he wasn't covering his own ass? There was no, it still never made sense to me.
What about Dennis says the Russiagate / Comey fiasco started as Obama was leaving office in 2015. This goes all the way to the top, not just Biden, Hillary, Comey, or McCabe.
Lots of dirty shit was going on that I don't quite understand. I really wish that I knew more about this, but I just don't.
You think someone had something on Comey and they're like, you better do this?
I bet you everybody has something on everybody else. Yeah. That's what villains do. I mean, that is thumbprint of villainy, is leveraging and blackmailing.
So. Now, Dennis says Ron Paul. Is he saying that for someone who could potentially be virtuous?
I have never had, any criticism from Ron Paul was more about his personality than anything he's ever done. So I'm going to go with
and Ron I never really followed Ron Paul until we got into the Senate confirmation hearings for RFK and things of that nature. And then I was starting to see more videos of him and what he would say. And I was like, thank God, somebody who is saying something that makes sense. So again, I don't know a whole lot about him, but what little I have seen, he certainly seems like somebody who makes sense.
But he was from that era, the Leave It to Beaver era, right? Where there was, when you watch television in that era, there was always a hero and everybody wanted to be the guy that would do the hard thing in spite. And then everything after that reversed it, where we idolized the villain side of things. And then everybody became these great villains who posed as, freaking heroes. So even, I don't know. Today's entertainment is sort of like a mirror of what culture accepts as what we should all, strive for. And it's reverse of what it was in that era. So I think Ron Paul, because of his age and where he grew up in, I think a lot more people in politics probably tried to adhere to what was the noble principles of the time.
Julie says John McCain.
Yeah,
I don't know much about John McCain.
War hero, straight shooter, played. He was.
Wait a minute! Didn't he shoot someone?
No, that was.
That was
the vice president. What's his name?
Oh, who accidentally shot someone
with a shotgun? Always dressed up in his orange vest. George W. Bush's vice president.
That wasn't John.
No, it wasn't John McCain. It was.
It's coming. I hear the people typing.
Yeah. But anyway, John McCain, war hero, very moderate, spoke a lot like we speak, wasn't afraid to, dance with the other side. And so he wasn't a team player. And that's really all his unpopularity is because he would just be more middle of the road to today's politics. Dick Cheney. Good job. Thank you, Dennis.
That's who I meant. Thank you. Dick Cheney. It's kind of interesting too, when people say when they don't trust RFK Jr., because his family doesn't even support him. And I'm like, well, do you trust the family? Like, that to me falls on deaf ears, because he would say, well, my family is employed by the Biden administration. That's literally their livelihood, their employer. They have an obligation to support him and not me. And so I'm like, I don't know. Does that have any weight behind it for you?
You would have to make the argument that the people supporting you are lily white pure. And because they're not, like finding disagreement in a political family where you go off the path and become moderate, you could be hated just because you're not getting in line and following the tribe. You're an embarrassment because you're making Dems look bad or you're making Republicans look bad. So no, it doesn't hold any water with me. For some people it does, though.
It doesn't with
but
me.
Most people will take something that a singer, like if Katy Perry said something, they were like, well, look, Katy Perry thinks I should vote for XYZ. And they would hold credibility on someone who, is a brain dead singer.
Yeah. That's another thing I saw right after the Charlie Kirk assassination. All over was this picture of actress Kristen Chenoweth saying something in support of Charlie Kirk and the assassination and how wrong this was. Then I saw the exact same quote come out of a different actress on social media. And all these people, thank God, started saying, this is fake. This is fake. They're putting this quote on all these different celebrities. Celebrity actually never said anything. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a shred of hope. Please understand, people, that the information you're receiving is totally made up sometimes, totally fabricated.
So that if you go through the people who speak publicly, and you were to, let's just say you have a spectrum of when they say it, I know it's 100% true. When they say it, it's suspicious, but it's not untrue, but it's also not true. And then some people are at 0%. If they say it, that it's untrue. So pick a person and find, like if Trump said, don't do this thing, would he be 100% believable, a suspect, check your sources, or a 0% in your mind?
If Trump said, don't do this,
or do this,
I'd be like, why? What? Like,
no, you have to say 100, 50, 0. 100 is totally believable. 50% is suspect and 0% is unbelievable.
I'd probably say 50%
okay,
suspect.
Suspect.
Yeah.
Katy Perry says something. Is 100% believable? Is it 50% suspect or 0% not believable?
Depends on what it is, but 50 suspect to probably unbelievable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we have a trust authority where when somebody says something, their motive for saying it, if they've got history of saying true things, and we put it through this whole thing. When I say the name, you're like, why are they an authority? Why am I believing them? What's in it for them? What's their motivations, and so on and so forth. So I find myself believing people who, the hardest thing is when somebody says something that is true, but is really hard on them. They really didn't want to say it and they said it anyway. Your stock value goes up for me because I know that when you say something, you're not just going to say the popular thing. Mm-hmm. If somebody is always saying the thing in a certain line, that their biases are, they're conforming to their biases. So they go to 50% level no matter what. I can only think of probably 3 or 4 people who I just know when they say it, it's going to be a true thing because they've got a history of saying true thing. Like Elon Musk. Do you think he's a liar?
No.
I don't think he knows how to lie. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think he is truth to a fault. And so if he said it, I know that it's probably freaking true. Donald Trump, he's at sus level. He says a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
And he says right off the cuff, whether
he's
or not
very theater to me.
He doesn't have a lot of relationship with all truthful things. So I'm not going to totally discredit because he said some true things, but I'm going to look at it and put it through some filters before I believe it or don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James is a 0. If he says it, it's probably bullshit. And if he says, I think you should do X, I'm like, I'm not going to even take that one. That information. Yeah.
Julie says, what Kennedy was employed by Biden? I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
Are you starting rumor conspiracy theories here on this program?
I'm pretty sure it was RFK Jr. who said a lot of his family was employed by the Biden administration.
Well,
and I'm not even positive that was him who said it, but I feel like it is. Boudin. Carolyn Kennedy, the daughter of President John F. Kennedy, served as the U.S. ambassador to Australia. Joe Kennedy III, the grandson of Robert F. Kennedy, was appointed by President Biden to the U.S. Special Envoy to Northern Ireland for Economic Affairs. Victoria Kennedy was appointed U.S. Ambassador. Let's see. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, Robert F. Kennedy's oldest daughter, worked as an advisor on retirement and pension issues with the Biden administration's Labor Department.
So about five of the Kennedys were involved in the Biden administration. So that's
factual.
Yeah.
Kennedys were employed by the Biden administration.
There you go.
See how that works? And now what do you do with that? Say, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
You don't have to be outraged. You don't have to say that's not true. You could even still say, well, I still trust their judgment. Okay. Say I've gotten information. I still trust their judgment. Or good to know.
That senator from Alaska, and she's one of the 3 or 4 that is technically a Republican, but votes against Trump every single time, has announced that she is going to be joining the Democrat Party. And if you're a Republican, you never considered her a real Republican anyway. So it's just a formality where she's going to slap a different letter on her name. But it begs the question, what causes you to just decide that the people that voted for you and they did so because of why you ran, all of a sudden you just decide that you don't have could you change your principles or your philosophies on a whim and join them?
On a whim?
Yeah.
My principles? Probably not.
Yeah. So if you get elected saying that I stand for this, this, and this, and this, and you get elected and you're like, oh, wait, hold on, guys. I'm no longer that person
Never
anymore.
Mind.
I'm over.
Change
over
my
here.
mind. On second thought, nope, I'm going to go this way.
Yeah. But I understood Joe Manchin changing, he came from a state that was heavily leveraged to the energy industry. And even if he believed that he was more Democrat than Republican, I think he's an independent now. But the Democrat philosophies no longer aligned with the people he represented from his state. So he had to shift what he would vote for and how he'd represent, even if it wasn't his personal politics. So I understand that explanation, but the Alaska chick, I have no idea what caused that. I think it was more personality conflicts where she had to oppose Trump because she just doesn't like, even Liz Cheney is the same thing. Their family doesn't like Donald Trump. And so everything she does is a personality conflict with whoever's there. If a more moderate Republican or any Republican, we wouldn't see the pushback. Anyone other than Trump, Liz Cheney wouldn't be serving such a hardcore helping. And I think this chick from Alaska is the same thing, where if it's going to be Trump now and then JD Vance next and then Don Jr. after that, she can't see any kind of philosophy that she's going to get along with. So she's like, I'm out. I'm just going to join the Dems anyway.
Dennis says, yeah, but racism. When you show factual information.
Oh,
and then
were you being racist by pointing?
Well, so if you get presented with factual information to the contrary of what you chose to believe, then you just cry racism.
Mm-hmm.
Not Julie. Julie, we're not talking about you.
You ever play the card game Bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I use sort of like gambling analogies when you overplay and do a certain thing over and over again, how that play diminishes over time. And so all of you race hustlers out there that make everything in the races. And when I was playing this game, like when you try to play off that you're not bluffing.
Yeah.
And you get called on your bullshit because somebody figures it out. If you always do a thing, you start making this connection that you're just bullshitting and it's not a serious claim. And then eventually you get to a point where you're always calling it, and then nobody ever wins the game because everybody distrusts that. So how many race? Okay, let's just say we put AI on it, right? We said every time somebody makes a racist claim, that you have a license, you got like one card that you can say racism when it applies. But if you ever make the claim without it being true, you lose it and you can never claim racism again. How many people in pop culture right now would have lost the license to ever make that claim again because they did it and it was inauthentic?
Because I was going to say, in the game Bullshit, if I called bullshit on you and you were not then I'm
You take the card.
penalized.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if there's no consequence where you could just claim bullshit and you don't have to take any cards if you were wrong, why would you not claim it every single time?
Yeah. Like, and we saw this, when Charlie Kirk died, and all of a sudden everybody was an expert on Charlie Kirk and what he did and didn't do or said and didn't say. And people would say he's a racist. And then there'd be all these examples of he employs African-American people. One of his best friends is African-American. You can watch video of him directly stating, I'm not, and I don't think that the color of your skin should matter, and it doesn't affect how you do your job, and our DNA is all the same. And it has all these different things that say, that makes no sense to have the racist claim. And then you just still stand behind it.
Because it works.
Take
and
all the cards.
There's no penalty for it.
There isn't.
If you had to take all the cards and there was a penalty, like Neuralink deletes that word from your vocabulary, so you can't even say the words anymore. You can't do it on social media. It's a eraser. You can no longer make that claim once you lie about it.
I saw somebody post, why is everyone upset? He was just a bully who never let his opponent speak. All he did is talk over them, and he's a racist. And I went, there are countless videos on the internet of him actively engaging and letting people who disagree come to the front of the line. Please state, telling everybody, please be quiet and let them speak. Going and having active debates and letting people speak. And I'm like, that's such a false statement. And somebody wrote, did you even look into, do you have any research into this person whatsoever that you even know what you're talking about? Did you look at anything? Yes, I did. Did you? And I'm like, this phenomenon needs studied. It needs studied so much right now. Did you actually look into anything? And if not, shun you in your argument. And if you did, and you still feel that way, show me. Because could the algorithms and online information be even more nefarious than we even know?
Oh, but it's going to be so helpful when it could just tap into our true, real thoughts and we can't lie anymore. I cannot wait for that day. All right, Julie says, excuse me, why won't Mike Johnson swear in the Dem from Arizona? I don't know. First I'm hearing about that. I would not want to be in Mike Johnson's position, though. Like when you're in the architect position, you're a professional dancer, right? Your only job is to get things done and orchestrate maneuvers that allow you to get that stuff done. It's not a pursuit where you just get to carry the banner for your team, because if you did that, all you would do is get absolutely nothing done and you'd be the worst speaker that there was. Knowing the math behind getting something done in Congress is a true discipline, a true art. And I would never in a million years want that job ever.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, when that governor of Utah said no, like the thought of running for president makes me nauseated. I get it. It's dumb. It's like, oh, how about I give up my true position of affecting change and leading
to go to that? To
go to reality TV.
All right, let's talk some conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
Bill Gates was in the news over the weekend. What were your thoughts on Bill Gates?
I don't have many thoughts on Bill Gates. I did not hear him in the news over the weekend.
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot about him.
Okay.
Obviously, smart tech guy. A little bit of a controversy there on whether or not he was a good guy.
He's really definitely not a good guy.
That's what I hear.
Not a good guy.
I think he was on a couple episodes of Big Bang Theory. That's really all I know about him.
Okay, so and I like this title for him. He is so you have philanthropy, right? And you have psychopath, and you put them together, it's a philanthropath. He is a philanthropath. Yes.
Why?
He believes in a lot of things that he would really like to force on the people of the United States that really are great for the United States, but really bad for the people that you push it onto.
Okay.
We're talking about genetic modifications and digital IDs, and he is really out there as far as the thing he would really like to use his wealth and power. Thank you.
Like everybody gets a microchip.
Well, that was the headlines from this weekend. What every time he talks, he comes across as the psychopath that I wish somebody would just get in his way because he has tons of money and tons of influence and tons of ability, buying up farmland and genetically altering meat. And like there's some really fringe things that he has been pushing for. I mean, he does a lot of good stuff too, where he'll take and do vaccinations in whole countries in Africa and whatever. So he has the philanthropy, yes, part of him, which is you can buy into that. He has, the needs of other people, but he's
also a bit psychotic.
Yes, he's a lot psychotic, and he should be muzzled in a lot of these departments. But you want the good that he's able to do, and you want to keep the bad at bay. And so keeping him from getting his way has got to be something.
So what exactly does he want to do now?
Well, let me bring up the headline.
Was that banning smartphones or something?
No. Let me
What
see.
is that? New Epstein documents have name of Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, and Prince something.
That was over the weekend. And so Congress they're getting small segments of new and more information, and they're releasing it to the public. And Elon Musk was invited to go to the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And according to Elon Musk, he turned it down, but it was in the paper where Jeffrey Epstein was trying to get Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and others to come to the island. Now we're going to have this weird thing because it's so radioactive and everybody's starved for it. I want to know the bad behavior. Being on a flight log or being invited to someone isn't enough for me to say immediately, because he's entangled in the conversations, that all of a sudden there was wrongdoing.
Yeah, because didn't we way early on in the Epstein thing, there was a whole list of celebrities that came out, and everyone's like, what? And they're like, dude, this is only because they happened to talk to him one time or share a flight somewhere.
That's the real danger. And because they've not done a good job of releasing it, now everybody's so hungry for it. If you float one name that met him or had a photograph with them or on a flight log with them, immediately they're responsible for the underlying crimes that were at the island. So again, I want to be really diligent before I take anybody. If they could say Bill Clinton was on it, now if he went there 27 times, if Bill Clinton made a flight to the Epstein Island 27 times, there's a good indication that something, but I'm not convinced that he even did anything wrong. Does he have the personality type that was womanizing, and you could totally see that happening? Did he go there enough times that he at least knew what was going on there? It might have been. So yeah, there's a probability that's higher than if he's never mentioned before, but I'm not willing to let his name be drugged through the mud without knowing if he's an active participant. I want to know. Yeah. Bill Gates, again, any person in that strata of power, money, and influence, he was a nerd, or he was a computer nerd. So for him to have dabbled in having sex with a bunch of people because he could, there are very few rock stars, singers, athletes, people in movies that didn't do that same thing for sure.
Jerry says, I believe Bill Gates was involved with the COVID situation. Look up his TED Talk 5 years before the outbreak about the next big problem being a virus, and it looked just like COVID. I'm sure he is tied financially with Big Pharma.
Yep. And I think there are a couple things that I know we'll never know about, and you might as well just chalk it up as something that they're never going to tell us about. And then some things that the illusion's going to be pierced, and we're going to see that people like Bill Gates, people that have a lot of that power and influence, did manipulate things. And we're going to find out that how terrible people that they actually were. I think this is one of the latter, where we're going to find out that Bill Gates was dabbling in stuff that was truly evil from my perspective.
If I was married to Hillary, I would have stayed on Epstein Island, says Carter. How do you feel about the theory that this Charlie Kirk assassin is innocent and this is all a play? Have you heard about that?
It's like Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah.
Literally the things in politics that, the budget stuff, if you take a snapshot of where we're at every time this comes up, the same people are saying the same thing. It's the same outcome every time, but then it's floated as a brand new thing here.
Yeah.
So after there is a killer, right? Then everybody's trying to tag him on a group, and there's early reporting that gets it almost always wrong. And then they find somebody and tag it, and then they're a patsy and they weren't really involved. And after we've not paid attention to it for a little bit, it was a government conspiracy theory where Bill Clinton did it. So it follows this pathway almost every time.
It's this whole thing of like powerful people were after him and his stance on like Palestine or something. And Netanyahu was trying to get him to say or do something and he wouldn't. And it's this whole thing. And then they go into like, somebody said, why would somebody who is so intelligent and at this collegiate level, why would he be so dumb as to text what he did and why he did it and how he did it and send it like feds can't ever get text messages. And then he assembled and reassembled his rifle, which would have needed tools and things that were not at his disposal. And you can kind of go down a rabbit hole of like, oh my God, was this more in depth than we know? But then I always hear in the back of my mind, like Judge Judy on her show always used to be like, maybe it was Judge Marilyn Milian, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Like, I don't think someone who is psychotic enough to murder somebody just because he was in college doesn't mean he's smart enough to know not to text people.
Plug in your previous conspiracy theories. Did we go to the moon? You can take the same kind of logical jumps. Like, well, why was this thing like this? And this didn't look right over here. And this, and you can watch really smart people say things that have really a seed of truth to it.
Yeah.
Right? But when assembled on the aggregate, whether or not it leads to, will you ever know 100% certain that that's the person that did it? And are there people that are working against the narrative that you've already accepted and put doubt in your head that it might be something else? Yeah. I use the scientific method for everything. Right. And at the origin of a countervailing view, right? I think that your hypothesis is wrong. There's a requirement that it's the origin of a question. The question itself does not mean that the wisdom that you already have in there. Do I think we went to the moon? Do you think we went to the moon?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, the accepted wisdom is we went to the moon. So if I had a hypothesis, you don't get to take the conventional wisdom and all of a sudden subvert it somehow. It's like, okay, well, I'm open to you questioning whether we went to. So plead your case. So you have a hypothesis, you do some experimentation, you plead your case. And if it's believable above what we knew, the prevailing wisdom, then that becomes the new prevailing wisdom. So my theory is probably most accurate.
That we went, but we never saw it.
Yeah. So we went to the moon.
Yeah.
Because we were racing against two other countries to be the first people. So politically, it was advantageous that we would win that moon race, right? And the technology at the time would not allow us to spike the football in high definition. And so we went there, we did the stuff, we came back, we recreated it, we used that as marketing material to be able to show the world how much more dominant. And even though this was a recreation, it was accurate enough to be very similar to what actually happened with going to the moon.
And your biggest point of evidence there would be the technology would not have been...
It wouldn't have been as awesome as it is with using that technology. For everything from the sights to the sounds, there's a high likelihood that it would have been a worse presentation than it actually was.
Like the fact that we so clearly have his audio and
the video was perfect, everything was in frame. Like at the time, it's more okay, so let's just say there were 20 hours of video footage and most of it was unusable and they only got like 10 minutes of really good stuff. Now it's more believable that they got it. They just couldn't show a lot of it because it was garbage. You know, if someone was out of frame or out of focus,
jumbled,
not enough light, whatever. So I'm not even going down the likelihood of the wind or the dust or the boot prints or whatever. I'm just going based on it is really likely that it was garbage output. And it's highly likely if I were doing it and I really wanted to present well to the world, I wouldn't take the actual footage. I would make a better version of it. And I just don't believe that it was as good a version of it as we saw.
Carter says World Trade Center building 7 coming down. I'll never believe it came down because of fire. It was a free fall collapse.
And I don't know if anybody's having a proper explanation. What was your explanation of building 7 collapsing?
I thought it was just the structure weakened because of the hit and it collapsed.
Okay.
Is that not what people think?
What I've heard, Building 7 was about a block away from the towers. Okay.
Oh, I'm thinking the towers.
No, the towers collapsed, and then a day later or hours later, Building 7, which was a block away, also collapsed. And what Carter's saying is the theory is that all of it was a man-made implosion where they orchestrated it to be destroyed with whatever demolition.
Oh, even the towers and everything?
Yes, the whole thing. Because that's a good conspiracy theory where, you know, the melting of the steel and whether or not authentic fire could have produce enough heat to melt the steel that would cause the collapse. And if the structure was damaged enough by the plane to bring the whole thing down. But then they're like, well, okay, fine. Well, what about Building 7? Didn't have anything crash into it. There was a fire, but then the fire wouldn't have been fueled by jet fuel. It would have been just traditional
what started the fire?
Well, the buildings all have a tunnel system and electrical system that are connected. So underground, there's pathways that the fire could travel through the tunnels and start fires in the other building, right? But it's all concrete, and what was burning, right? So my deal is if I had two major buildings collapse, when they do actual demolition, you can do damage to the other. You can break pipes. You can have gas lines that now get severed and whatever. And there's probably a lot of underground devastation near Building 7. And it just happened to be that you had natural gas filling it up and structural damage and probably the pressures that got hit all of the buildings in the area that happened to be the next tallest building, and then fire weakened it and it collapsed. That's my theory. It's not likely. I've never really bought into the on-purpose demolition to either of those buildings. I think it was just circumstances.
What would be the motive behind if it were
taken down? Watch your favorite conspiracy theory. It's insurance fraud. It could be political, where loss of the institutions that were inside the buildings and attack on them. I haven't heard a good argument for why that's the best way to attack everything that were in those buildings. It makes more sense that the terrorists took out a building that represented our financial district of New York City, and that was the legitimate story. I haven't got one that was better than that.
Carter says the leading engineers in the country say no way with a steel structure.
Okay.
That's another interesting point too, is when people choose to believe information and they look at the source and what constitutes a credible source and a not credible source. For example, when all the drama about Tylenol was breaking last week and people were like, oh, well, where's the data? Where's the sources? Where's whatever? And then I see a video online. Someone's like, Harvard University.
The dean of Harvard University.
Yes, said this could be dangerous and potentially have a link and yada, yada, yada. And so that to them is like, Harvard, credible source. But then don't you all almost always ultimately have someone that's like, oh, but Harvard could be in the pocket of so-and-so.
But that's
blah,
healthy.
blah, blah.
Conspiracy theories are healthy because we're just not going to accept everything. We're going to push back on it. And if your theory survives scrutiny, then it's a stronger theory, not a worse theory. So what if somebody wanted to destroy buildings and blame it on terrorists to justify wars in other countries? Well, you've had 20 years to be able to make that case and do your findings. Either you didn't find enough to finish making that case, or the powers that control things were better than you at concealing that. And really, it's still an open-ended question. I will never give either in science or, things that happen in pop culture, never a definitive seal. We're never going to know, and we can only believe as much information as we have. So hopefully the people are honest enough to give us that information that aren't concealing and hiding things. Now you talk to Cynic Joe. Do I believe anybody? No, that's why I'm willing to hear out that there are bad people that want to take shots. Like, do you want to hear if somebody had a vendetta against Tylenol specifically? Let's just say I came out today with a conspiracy theory that somebody in the Trump administration is like, I own stock in this new company that makes acetaminophen, and Tylenol's had a hold on it. I want to take them down. So you whisper in your ear that acetaminophen does something, and now nobody buys it. Well, fine. Make your case. Who is
Yeah.
it? How'd they do it? Be transparent about it. And if you're right, I'm going to be like, holy shit, that's evil.
But racism.
Dude. All right. Anyway, we'll wrap this up for today. Thanks everybody for watching, listening. I do want to mention the MLO Bros did lose their page for a second time.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. It'll be a rehashing, and we need some new news through that show. So I'm gonna try to bait them into talking about something new and different. So.
Other than
Ursuline and being
meta, fighting with people online.
Yeah, I'll try to bait them into some new discussions.
Maybe steer clear of like their bathroom habits. That'd be great if we could avoid that.
No, we're going bathroom habits tomorrow.
Yay!
Sure. All right, everybody, have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for